start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. Next I have is the approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve today's agenda.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next service is approval of last week's minutes.
Make a motion to approve last week's minutes.
I'll abstain, Lance.
I'll second that. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Abstain.
One abstention, motion carries. Next is approval of claims for payment.
I'll make a motion to approve this week's claims for payment.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. I cannot start the 10:10 until 10:10, so let's jump down to the change of statuses.
All right, we have two changes of status at the sheriff's office this morning. First is Isaiah Uribe, who submitted his resignation with his last day of employment being 7/25/17.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
The second is a promotion for Caitlin Purdy as a communication specialist. She's being promoted from part-time to full-time status, effective 7/21/2000 or 7/26/2017. Excuse me.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. I got a ways to go here. We do have a discussion of the job study. We've been talking about this for some time now. Curious, have you guys watched the video of the other week? Did you have any questions? I have a few things, but.
Called and got mine answered.
Okay.
I watched the video, and I'm meeting with two more department heads today to finalize getting everybody's input, and hopefully we can revisit this in the near future and resolve it. But everything I've received was very positive and constructive. That the information, there's just some misconceptions going into the job study, and so the clarification and having those discussions has helped. So I hope that today I'm meeting with two department heads that we can get that resolved for me to feel comfortable moving forward.
Okay. I did get a hold of Paul to meet with him again, and he has dates that are available August 10th, August 15th, or August 17th at any time if you guys would like to check your schedules.
Okay.
You meet them again?
I think we do. There's a couple things that we need to decide before we go into this. I got most of my questions answered, but talking with Wes, with some conservation, exempt, non-exempt, we'd have to do the move at the same time.
When you discussed things with Paul, did you guys decide, is he gonna meet with his group again to make or address some of those issues that we talked about?
Yes, but I don't know if these two know what you're talking about.
Which issue?
There were some job descriptions that were in question, and I visited with Paul as well, and he said that some of those changes that needed to happen had to happen when the study group meets to reevaluate the numbers and the scores. So I was just wondering how soon that would happen.
I wonder if we can schedule that the same time he comes.
Have him here for a full day.
Yes. So we can get this
Yes.
show on the road.
That goes to my next question, is throwing it back at the study group and reevaluating before we move forward with it. Whether or not we could go forward with a 1% raise like we originally budgeted, and then do some bumps with the ones that we know are low, and also at the same time do the change of statuses from exempt to non-exempt that we talked about. Or we could go back as another option to go back and have the study group go back through and do it,
Go back here and do what?
reevaluate some of these positions that he was just talking about.
I would just like to schedule to have Paul come and do all of that all in one day.
Okay?
What dates did you say he's not available in the near future?
In August, he has the 10th, the 15th, and the 17th at any time.
The 15th is a scheduled day that I have down that he gave us for, that he'd be here for human resources anyway.
The other thing you have to think about is this group that is gonna decide all these things for the status of where they lay in this process, all has to be together
Right.
to do this.
And coordinating that
So-
this time of year.
Right, so you're wanting to have all that done prior to making a decision to even implement this? Or are you gonna implement it as it is right now and then reevaluate the ones that are in question? I think that's
Yeah.
a decision that you guys have to make.
Well, we can't do
and-
anything today because it's just on the agenda as discussion, so.
No, I understand that, but
No.
for the future, you know, there's several things that have to be decided before the process can go forward. So depending on what you guys decide, if you want those categories reevaluated prior to implementing this, you've gotta look at the schedules of everybody that's on that committee to be able to attend that meeting as well.
Yeah.
So that you have the same input that you had
Right.
when it was initially done. So that's a lot of people's schedules that you have to work around
In a short period of time.
in a short period of time.
During vacation season.
Exactly.
During fair season.
Any of those dates would work for me. I mean, I have a 9 o'clock with Judge Haney on the safety committee, but other than that, any of those dates work. So
Yeah,
Paul was
I'm-
planning to be here on the 15th
Yeah,
anyway?
that's his HR day that I have written down from back in
Okay.
January.
I would recommend you schedule it outside of that day, because then you have that day to fall back on.
Right. So the 10th, should we aim for the 10th?
Yeah, that works
Okay.
for me too.
Let's shoot for the 10th then.
What time?
Anytime works for me.
Yeah, anytime.
Maybe we should start it at 8 o'clock in the morning if we have questions, 8 or 9. I don't know how long it takes them to get here, but start early in the morning so we can get our questions answered, and then the committee has all day to do what they need to do.
Okay.
Yep.
Or if they can even get a committee together.
Yeah. So we'll need to,
I'll respond back as the 10th.
okay.
From there, that's about all I had on that at this time. Here, check my clock. I got 10:09, so give me a minute here and we'll. Move to the first consideration of ordinance number 48.
Are we ready?
It's not 10:10
Okay.
yet. Did you guys have anything else you wanted to talk to on the job study, or are you good with that so far?
I'm just upset that it's gone on this long.
Well, now I have 10:10, so we'll do the first consideration of ordinance number 48, an ordinance to define, prohibit, and abate nuisances to public and private property. Jessica, you want to talk about this at all?
Sure. Alright, so there were a few changes from the made from the old nuisance ordinance number 42. Some of the changes we made were that we added definitions to make the nuisances more clear. Added some nuisances that are public health concerns that are in
I think it's very clear. I think it's well written.
I-
Thank you.
I hit you up on a couple questions earlier. Number one, indecent or offensive to the senses.
Yep. So, I guess specifically if we're talking about like businesses maybe in Hardin County, if that's what you're talking about, like
As far as hogs.
hog sites and stuff like that. I think that there are specific regulations and setback distances that are already being enforced through building those hog sites, and it's a major part of our economy, so I don't think that that would be considered a nuisance.
And the second one was on the other one where,
The visual impairment when you're driving.
Yes.
Like, I think that would be the right of way. I don't think that anything like corn stalks being in the way, would be considered a nuisance just because it's not in the right of way, and I think that specifically on like gravel roads and places like this, people are responsible for themselves and slowing down to make sure that they have time to see and look both ways to make sure people are coming.
yeah.
So,
And my question on that is if you drive down a gravel road at an unmarked intersection, corn's tall right now, you almost have to stop at every intersection to pass through it in a safe manner.
and I guess.
And would this be a nuisance or not a nuisance? You're saying no.
No, and because if there were a stop sign put at those intersections, the corn would not be in the way of the stop sign, like, as far as back from the road that they would be in the way, so, that makes sense.
Yep. I just wanted to have a couple of those out there. This is an ordinance. It's open to any public that would like to ask questions. Julie?
I was wondering if you could add to this ordinance, a restriction on chaining dogs 24 hours a day. We needed a dog tethering restriction. There was a recent incident of a tethered dog biting a child, and, there, people warned against that happening, but that was ignored and the child was, injured, so I think a anti-dog tethering, section would be helpful in addition.
Hey, I have a question. Do you know how other places monitor that? Is it just, let's say you and I see a neighbor's dog out and we know they're on vacation or they've left town. How do we present our word against theirs, Julie? I mean, I'm with you on this. I feel bad when I see this. So how do we put our word against somebody else that says, oh yeah, somebody was there for 5 minutes and
There are, a lot of examples and laws that have been passed that, lay out procedures
Okay.
and stuff for this. I just don't happen to have it with me.
No, that's fine. I
I'd
just-
be glad to share it
Perfect.
with you, and someone who's done way more research than I would be happy to get with
Okay.
you and discuss it.
Would.
Thank you.
Yep.
Jess?
I have to actually ask one of our law enforcement people, like a cop from a different town, not our sheriff, but, and he said that as long as they are getting food and water and they have a shelter, that it's not considered like animal neglect. So I guess that's another thought I thought I'd add.
Would these ordinances, as a Hardin County ordinance, work inside city limits, or are these just outside city limits?
These are, unless the town doesn't have their own set of nuisances, then it would just be unincorporated parts of the county.
Unincorporated?
Yeah, like, so, the country,
The rural.
like Garden City.
So it's all the rural area, and then if a town doesn't have their own ordinance, then it applies there too?
Correct.
Okay. Just to
Okay.
clarify.
Any other questions? Do you have any questions? And from there.
Well, I didn't, but now that Julie brings that up, I guess I'm not sure. If that's
I
considered
would
a
like to-
nuisance, or if it's abuse, or what.
neglect
or-
it, man. I mean,
Neglect, yeah, I
Well,
suppose.
it's a public safety
Right.
Uh-huh.
thing.
Yeah.
it's not only like in your instance of a child being bitten, that's bad enough, but the animal itself deserves
Correct.
to be treated.
Absolutely.
So I'm just, do we have anything on animal cruelty, any, you know, domestic pet type? I like this, I would like to add something for animal well-being.
Yeah.
Is there, can you research some other counties and bring that back to us in a reasonable amount of time?
Yeah, I guess.
We investigate using them to see, but
How would you handle a farm dog being a farm dog when he patrols the whole acreage?
Yeah, that's.
Like, that would be a question. We have other dogs out there that are working dogs that work livestock as well.
But they're not chained.
Yeah,
They're not chained,
Right.
but they can't be chained because they work 20 or 30 acres at a time.
Right. But I think Julie's point is leaving a dog on a tether for 24 hours is abuse.
Oh, I misunderstood you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's not just,
No,
yeah,
it's,
I'm talking about chained
Yeah.
dogs, thank you.
yeah.
Okay.
I just kind of question, I can see the part of if you have a dog that bites and it's chained somewhere, it should be chained, well, I'm thinking more in town, you know, like, so it's not close to the sidewalks where the kids might be walking or whatever. But I'm wondering if the abuse thing belongs in a different kind of ordinance
Right, that's
rather
what
than
I'm
the
thinking
nuisance
is, I don't know if
ordinance.
it's nuisance, but it definitely needs to be examined. I mean,
Dogs who are chained can develop, a bite, you know, kind of
Tendency.
situation where kids run through their territory, get too close. Dogs, you know, don't generally bite unless, you know, they're put in a circumstance where, you know,
Yep.
that's very, I understand, subjective, but tethering can cause dogs to bite.
But the only way you can let dogs out in town is to have them on a chain or a leash or
Leash.
something.
But it's a matter of how long you have that dog tethered out there.
it would, and I think some language, unsupervised tethering.
Correct,
I mean,
correct, thank you.
I've unfortunately seen tethered animals that somebody leaves out for 5 minutes and they walk off the porch and hang themselves. It's horrible.
Yeah.
So it's part of it's a human interaction, the supervision. I think we can agree on that.
But I don't think you can police everything. I mean, like,
No, but
like JD said.
if there's habitual people out there doing this,
Yes.
then those people will definitely.
And who's gonna time how long they've been out there
Well-
and,
Some,
I mean, not that I'm a,
Right,
I mean, I
right.
think the same way you do, but I'm just
Yeah.
thinking of the policing of this whole thing.
we don't expect, officers to go and sit out and watch how long a dog's out on a chain. But there
They
are,
can't.
No.
but you can tell that that's happening.
Oh, I know, I mean, I can
Observation,
tell you
yes.
right down the street where there's one and the whole,
Yes,
there's
and
no
it-
grass
yes,
in the,
It happens all the
but
time, but
it's-
when it has
but-
been determined by observation,
Mhm.
you know, we could theoretically move forward on it, but we certainly don't expect them to run out and drive by everybody's house who has their dog chained out, maybe chained out for 5 minutes,
right,
maybe chained out for 4 hours.
Right.
You know, and so there just, there should be a limit on the time that they can be chained out.
Mhm.
a lot of those people probably shouldn't even own a dog.
We're getting too far off track here.
Right.
And you had some comments?
Yes, I do. Isn't that kind of contrary to like a leash law?
Yeah,
To
that's what I
ban
was
people
thinking.
from tethering a dog. Now, I don't go along with tethering a dog and leaving it.
Mm-mm. No, I don't
mean,
either.
If somebody's at home and the dog's tethered in the yard, what's somebody doing in there where this dog is tethered, it's on private property, maybe there's a violation there of somebody being in there where they can get bit.
Right, I mean, you have the rights to your property, but what I was just saying is if it's tethered long enough to where it can get to the sidewalk and bite people as they're walking by, I can definitely
I agree with that.
see that, but when you've got people coming in your yard, that's more or less trespassing too. So there's definitely different
I mean,
sites to
there's
this.
a fine line here.
Yep,
I mean,
I
you don't,
agree.
nobody should tether a dog and just
Leave
leave
it.
it. But I mean, if somebody has a dog and they don't want them running in the neighborhood, how are you gonna contain them? Unless you're gonna put up go to the expense of putting up a huge fence.
Yep,
Tethering for short periods of time, I'm sorry, there's no way around it.
mhm,
But nobody, and like I say, nobody should tether a dog and go on vacation for a week.
right.
I do agree that, a dog should be tethered, for long periods of time, but I don't know that this is a public nuisance.
Right.
Yes.
I don't think so either.
Probably not in this code, but I think it's something in animal welfare ordinance,
Yeah.
something like that, if you're okay with bringing it back to us in a timely fashion, and then, and looking at some different options, I would appreciate that.
In a separate.
Yes, a
Yeah,
separate
and
ordinance.
check and see, I mean, we might already have some type of an ordinance regarding animal welfare or whatever, and if, that might just need to be updated.
Yep.
JD, you almost had something to
Well, I
say.
was just gonna say exactly that. I don't
Okay.
think it falls into this category, what you guys are talking about. Animal welfare and other ordinances, but I think under nuisance, I don't think
Yeah.
tethering probably would fall into that.
Yeah.
Would be my opinion.
I do think it's something that needs to be addressed though.
Yeah.
So we can look
Yeah.
at a separate.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Was there anything else?
So
Yeah.
this will be looked at as a separate ordinance then?
Yes.
And so we can bring information and.
Please.
And pass it on to you.
Yep.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Are there any other comments? From there, I'm not sure if I have to approve the first consideration. It was- Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the first consideration of ordinance number 48, an ordinance to define, prohibit, and abate nuisances to public and private property.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next, we have the option to waive the second consideration of ordinance number 48. What is your choice?
I'm comfortable waiving it. I'll make a motion to waive the second consideration of ordinance number 48.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I believe it's a well-written.
It
We've
is.
gotten the county attorney's opinion. He's done his due diligence. Jessica's done hers. So, yep.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next is line item number 8, which is adoption of ordinance number 48, an ordinance to define, prohibit, and abate nuisances to public and private property.
I'll make a motion to adopt the ordinance number 48, an ordinance to define, prohibit, and abate nuisances to public and private property.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Just to reiterate, we are going to look at an animal welfare resolution that is unrelated to the nuisance abatement in the coming weeks. And Jessica will bring in information. Julie is going to provide information that we can utilize to craft an animal welfare resolution.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
EJ?
Aye?
Renee?
Aye.
Lance?
Aye. Motion carries. From there, I bounce down to line item 11, which is utility permits, secondary roads. I don't have either one of those here. I was hoping to hear a little bit about the roads there in Union and Gifford area.
They're good. I've
If they're
driven them.
done, or the shoulder's done, or?
They're just doing some finishing on D65 bridge approaches and stuff. We're finishing and some shoulder work.
Okay. And from there, I can go to other business. Hearing none, I can ask for adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries for adjourn.